Squad up, haters down, haters down. If you ain't about that life, don't come around, don't come around. Got the crowd, gone wild. Tell me what you know about that Mem style,
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Memphis Jelks, formerly known as J-Smoove, in the building. Y'all know what it is. It's the Memphis Jelks Show. And we're back with another episode. And this episode is like super special for me because I'm here with the man who gave me my first opportunity, my first chance to release a real album. He signed me to my first ever record deal. I was just a little kid, like 18, 19 years old, making demos in the house. Me and my brothers, the Jelks boys, and we met a guy named Tom Sanders, R.I.P. He took a liking to us, and so much so that he was like, "I'm gonna play." Tom was already an artist, and he was like, "I'm gonna play this for my label owner, Mr. Johnny Scott."
Hey, well, I thank you, Jay. You know, it's been a long time. But what happened was that I happened to go to New York, and I stayed there for about a couple of years, and I came back to Memphis and decided to, while on the train, I wasn't riding no plane then. On the train, I happened to have bought a book, a portrait of J.K., and I took that portrait and made that my label for my record company, Portra Records, and that's where it started. Had a lot of fun, did a lot of recording, Tom Sanders, J-Smoove, and also Johnny Scott. We had a good time, made a little money, not much, you know. Can't change anything. But I had a good time.
We got to go back a little bit. That's amazing, John. The reason I say we got to go back is what about that object made you want to take on the name Portra Records?
Well, that's why I took the name Portra Records, because the book was called A Portrait of JFK. Mm-hmm. So I just took the Portra and made that my label. But that was it, Portra Records.
Wow. Did you know how to create a record label at that time? Like, did you know how to do the paperwork and all that kind of stuff behind it?
Oh yeah, when I got in Memphis back from New York, I went down to the courthouse and went to signing papers and all this stuff. But the label was registered, and no one else had that label out at that time. So that's how I got Portra Records off the ground.
Wow. So take us back before then. So Johnny Scott, the young teenager, growing up in Memphis. First of all, were you born and raised in Memphis?
I was born and raised in Memphis, 1936.
Nice.
But what happened was that I went to WREC. It was called WREG then. WREC, and put in for a television show. I happened to have gotten it, and that was it. From then on, I was Johnny Scott with the Memphis Late Night Show, and that was it. It went on for about 6 years.
Wow. So, like, how old were you then? At what age were you when you started the show?
Oh, when I started the show, I must have been about 21, 22, something like that. Yeah.
What got you into music and into entertainment? Like, what made your mind say, I want to get into music and entertainment?
Well, I was always singing around the house and singing with a local group called the, I can't think of the name of that group now. I think we call the Bell Tones or some group. Kenneth Patterson, Haywood, Alvin Standard. I can't think of my other man's name. But we sang out the Courage, Hippodrome, Flamingo Room, and anywhere would put us on. And we made not a lot of money, more fame than money, but we had a good time. So that was it.
So when you said more fame than money, that means y'all was getting all the girls.
Well, now, yes. But no, not really. But we had a lot of fun. We sang that at the Flamingo Room, the Hippodrome, and Johnny Curry's. And we do all three of the clubs. And night of week, just having fun. And made a little money, but that was all a little bit. Not enough to talk about. More fun than money.
And that's what artists, I feel like, need to get back to these days. Is the more fun, and stop. And I think we as artists, myself included, have gotten. It's been times where I've been just more focused on the money than having fun.
Yeah, well, I can understand that, but you see, you have to have that money sometime to make the next gig. You just can't sing, and not draw no money. You got to have something to show for it. Got to buy uniforms and everything. So it takes a little money to get all the uniforms made together, and that would be it. We have a good time though.
What did y'all parents think when they found out that y'all was starting to sing in group, and then y'all was gonna be, doing singing and doing clubs and stuff?
Well, you know, that's something I never thought about, and it never was brought up. We were just singing at nightclubs, and we were like 18, 19. There was no such thing as you couldn't get in this club if you were 21. We sang when we were 17, 18 years old, and nobody never knew it. Of course, they all said they wouldn't serve us no drinks. We didn't drink, nothing like that, but we had a good time. Yeah, so it wasn't no mess up about you too young to come in here, you and mine, no. We just went in the club. I guess we all looked old enough to go get in the club.
Nice. What were some of the artists and some of the music that y'all was influenced by at the time?
Clyde McFadden, and he was with the Drifters, and another name that they had too. But then the Clovers, the Five Royals, any group that had a good name or had a good record, we did that often. We had a good time, and we just did our own songs. We wrote a lot of songs, and the Midnighters. That was another group that was popular back then.
Well, were any of those groups local, or they were all national acts?
Those were national groups. So we were the local group in town. You may have the Bell Tones may play tonight, and the Five Stars, and we just have a go around and sing the club. We'd open the show for the main act, and that was about it.
Wow.
Yep.
When I'm not on stage and up for a long time, I miss it.
Oh yeah. We were on stage maybe 3 times a week. We did Hyde Park Amateur Hour, where we were the featured group on the Amateur Hour. So we was called professionals on the Amateur Hour. Then we would do the Palace, do the New Daisy, and we would do, I think, a club down on Hernando by the insurance company. It was called, I can't recall that club now, but we would hit them all going around singing.
Wow, what was the atmosphere like then? Like, how would you describe the vibe of Memphis then?
Memphis was great because see, we had the Handy Theater, and at the Handy Theater, every weekend they had a different act, and we would go out there to see this act. Then we put some of their stuff in our show, and because we had the clubs on the weekend, so we would move around and have a good time.
People were getting along then better. Do you think people was got along better then,
Oh yeah,
or now?
we got better along then. We got real good. We had a good vibe. We didn't have any shooting and cutting and fighting and like that. We was in the club, and everybody get finished, and we go home. With no fights or nothing like that. We just had a good time, you know.
Yeah, I wish it would get back like that again.
Well, I guess it's so different now because I guess the acts that come in, they're so popular. I guess the girls want to get to the next to them and so somebody gonna get mad. Somebody's trying to fight, you know.
It's more.
Somebody bust a balloon. Oh God! So they go shooting. So that's the way it is.
It's more guns
Yeah.
out here now than it was. I definitely then. Because even when I was growing up, it was a rare thing to see a gun.
Yeah, we didn't think about a gun. We never owned a gun in our group. We never had a gun. Everybody would go out to have a good time, and we would have a good time at that.
We gotta. Y'all were a singing group, so we gotta talk about the ladies. How were the ladies?
Well, the ladies, they were good. They were fine and everything, and we just had a good time. Nobody would let the ladies interfere with the group. You know, they had to wait in the back because, hey, we were so popular back then. We were the one, the ladies would come to us. We didn't have to go to them. So we had a good time. Yeah.
That's a blessing right there, man. I promise you, the ladies were like 99.9% the reason why I started rapping.
Yep, that's all right. Yeah, we had the clubs, man. We had the Flamingo Room, Johnny Curry's, WC Handy, and the club down on Hernando. I can't think of the name of it now, but it was another little club down there across from Union Protective, and it was good. We were singing there too. So.
Wow. Now it's like it ain't that many places for us to go perform like it used to be, and if you do, it might be a little dangerous or skeptical. You know, the areas that you are in are a little sketchy. And stuff.
Yeah. Afraid you got to park your car, you know, and you got to hope it's there when you go back. So that's the difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about jazz music. Because you guys were singing R&B.
Yeah.
Y'all were singing rhythm and blues. Well, when did you start? I mean, when did your love for jazz start?
Well, that started when I started my show, the Johnny Scott Show. I was on midnights at Friday night. I'd come on midnight and go to 2 o'clock. I mean, it was a 30-minute show. And the mood changed. Your lyrics changed. You want to be an individual and you want to be an act, a lone act. So that's why I started singing jazz and started singing blues a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Did you know it's like some musicians who were playing jazz that you connected with?
Oh no, what I did was I got a guy named Earl Thomas. He's a good bassist. He got Herc McGee. Jeff Greer was playing drums. Marvell Thomas played piano. And we started out to play more or less jazz and hip music rather than rock and roll. We would just sing, hopefully some good songs, and that was it. Had Juanita Reddick, she was a female vocalist, and later on I had Peggy and Linda to sing with me. These were the only ones I had back then.
Okay, so that kind of reminds me of like how like when I signed to Portra, you know, you were telling me like
Oh,
it's really not a good thing to be putting all that cursing and stuff in my music.
oh yeah. Well, you see,
So-
I couldn't use no cursing on it
Yeah,
because
but I mean, but I was going, but before you go there, before you get to that, I just want to like, you can compare that to like how you went from rock and roll to jazz, because rock and roll was a little bit more
yeah.
hardcore, and jazz was a lot smoother. So how was that transition going from like rock and roll to jazz?
Well, you see, I had done rock and roll and hip stuff with a group called, I can't think of the name of the group now. But anyway, I got along and started singing by myself. And when I started singing by myself, I thought it was a better thing to sing ballads, standards, and regular music that the elderly people would enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. That's how I started that.
Did it work?
Oh, yeah, it worked. I had a television show for about 3.5 years, maybe 4 years. So it went off well. Late night show, Johnny Scott show.
You got to tell us about the Johnny Scott show. And before you say that, too, I just want to say that it worked well for me, too. Thank you for giving me the inspiration to stop, you know, making so much cussing music and stuff. And when you know, inspired me to clean it up and stuff, that's when a lot of good things started happening for me. Doors start opening up.
Well, you see, the reason I sing what I would call jazz or semi-jazz was because you could do that as one person. I didn't have no vocalist to back me up. I just had myself. So I decided to sing ballads, and go along with hip music more or less than rock and roll. I got a little older then too. I think I was about 22 years old, something like that.
So you had built a name already around the city as being a performer, and that helped you when it was time for you to go and pitch the Johnny Scott show. And who did you have to pitch your idea of the Johnny Scott show to?
Well, what happened was that Harry Winfield had a show on Channel 5, and Harry was letting other guys run the show. He wasn't doing much. So I got fed up and not satisfied with the way his show was going. He was letting the young kids come on, do what they want to do, and so I went to WREG at that time, and WREC, and to Mr. Brakefield, and laid it out. He said, "Okay, we'll try it."
Wow.
And tried. That's where we started from.
Wow. That I know you were. How did you feel when he said that we're gonna give it a try?
Well, I couldn't feel any way, but I was astounded because he hadn't heard me sing or nothing like that. Maybe he had, I don't know, because I would sing something every now and then with Harry. But Harry would let the young guys run his show, and anything goes. So I want to be more sophisticated and, up to date and what was happening. I got Juanita Reddick to sing, my vocalist, female vocalist, and I was male vocalist. and that was it. We also got Marvell Thomas in the later days with the show.
Wow.
Earl Thomas, Marvell Thomas, Jeff Grail, Herker McGee, and Earl Thomas played bass as well. So that was about it.
Are there tapings of the show anywhere that you know of?
You know, I got a tape.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a tape at home.
Man, I would love to see
Johnny
I would
Scott
love to see the Johnny Scott show, man.
I'm thinking I know I got one at home, but that's about it. Yeah.
Okay, let me know if you find it for me so I can watch it. I could air it on my show.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
it's at home. You can take a look at it and see what you think about it.
I would love to, man. That would be a blessing for me to just.
No problem. I guess I would like to see it again myself.
You a hero to me, man. You took a chance on me, man, when nobody else would probably had even thought about taking a chance on me as a young artist trying to make it.
Well, my thing was, I would let the audience be a judge. I don't judge the talent. I put them out in front of the audience, and if the audience like them, that's it.
Wow. That's a gem right there. That's a gem for all of y'all moguls out there who's starting y'all own label. Y'all just heard it from Mr. Johnny Scott. Don't you be the judge of their talent. Let the crowd decide. There's so many people who like this own companies and stuff, and they want to, like you said, they'll let they self get in the way instead of doing what the what the crowd is going with. But so can you give us so what was your layout? What was your idea for the Johnny Scott show?
Well, you see, I was working with Harry Winfield, and Harry was allowing the youngsters to come in and take over his show. So I decided to go out and go to WREG and try my show over there. And they allowed me the opportunity to run against Harry, and that was it.
So what was you were singing on the show, or you were like interviewing? Were you interviewing like guests? And stuff
What I
like
would
that?
do, I would interview a guest, and I'd have a guest to sing a song, and a female vocalist would come in and sing Juanita Reddick, and then I would probably sing something and go off and be like that. But
Nice.
we like I say, for about 4.5 years.
Wow, that's a good run. That's a great run.
Yep.
Any did you have any favorite do you have a favorite episode or a favorite guest that you interviewed?
Well, my biggest guest, I shouldn't say this, but it was Lou Rawls. Lou Rawls he came to Memphis, and I took him by my sister's house, went on into Overton Square, driving around, showing him all the places in Overton Square. And he was one of, I guess, I would want to say he was the biggest guest I had, but he was one of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did y'all go to the studio? Did you take him to the studio?
Oh yeah, he came to the studio and showed him all around, and it was a fun thing. He did the television show with me live, and then he performed on my show, and then I performed with him at the Peabody Hotel.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is huge. That is super huge. So y'all were on for 4 years, and then at some point, you've been out the country before, haven't you?
Oh yeah, well I started out in Europe. I started out singing in France.
Tell us, yeah, how did you even come up with the idea that I'm gonna go outside of the United States and grow outside of the United States?
Well, what happened was that I was serving in the Army, US 514, 55055. Yeah, that's my serial number. However, I just started out to sing with the French band in the Epic Club. And I sang there for about 4 years. And after that, I moved back to the States because my time was running out over there. And if I didn't come back in a lot of time, I would have to pay my way back.
Oh, wow.
So when my time got a little short, I got my bags and put the plane. But I went back over there later on. I had a good time.
Which did you prefer? Like, which did you like better? Did you like the European crowd or the United States crowd better?
European crowd.
And why?
They look like they fancy and they take to the artists a little bit better. They want to speak English and they don't, you know how my French was, very poor and real short. But I made it. I stayed over there a year. You can stay a year. This is after I got out of the Army. I was stationed in France. So I got out of the Army over there and started to sing with a group called Richard Bennett and this jazz band. And we sang at the Epic Club. I had a contract there for about a year. And I started looking at money was getting slow. And I had to pay my way back if I missed that deadline. So I took the trip back home.
So you were managing yourself. You were getting yourself these bookings with these clubs.
Yeah.
Wow. That takes some ingenuity to not only be the artist, but also you were managing yourself too as an artist.
Well, that was the only thing I had to do. I was alone. I had no friends. Nobody, no one in the band spoke English. All the guys, they spoke at English, but I was the only American there.
Wow.
So we had a good time, though. Did a lot of blues songs and jazz songs. Our music is really popular in Europe, so I had a good time.
Nice. As far as going overseas, I've never been outside of the United States of America ever.
Never been in the Army, no sir. Mm-hmm. Well, I happened to have got discharged overseas after my tour, and I could stay there a year and then come back home on the boat free. Rather than pay my way back.
Nice.
So I sang on there for about a year, and I got that boat, came on back home. Yeah,
Nice.
But I had a good time, though. Yeah. I wish I could afford to go back now, but I guess I don't know what happened to all the guys and everybody. We're about the same age, so damn.
If I get some paper, I'm gonna make sure you be able to go back and enjoy yourself over there, because I know it's a different culture.
Well, I'm 87 now, so that's about it.
And you look 27.
Oh.
I hope I age as gracefully as you, for real.
She thinks 87. Yep. Yeah.
You're aging gracefully though, Johnny.
Yeah,
I hope I'll be able to.
Having a good time.
Oh yeah. Man, this is an awesome interview. We haven't even started scratching the surface yet. So when you were in France, it was a culture change, wasn't it? You said the European culture it's different than the United States culture.
Oh yes, it's much different. In other words, you appreciate it more than you are over here. I got in the club, and I had a female vocalist, Nancy Holloway, and I forget the other girl's name, but anyway, we sang at the Epic Club. I sang at Kurt Sambo's, and another one now, big, that's been so long ago, I've forgotten. But I had to get back to the United States after I stayed over there a year. So in that year, I made a lot of fun, had a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's amazing. So I've heard people say, like the the person who I told you I'm working with now, Chuck D from Public Enemy. He says this a lot. He says that every American should at least get their passport, at least, just so they'll know, like mentally, that if they wanted to travel outside the United States, that they would be able to.
Yeah.
Even if they don't go, he said you should still have one. What's your thoughts on that?
On the thoughts on that is that you should get a passport and maybe try to go over there, have a vacation for about a month. And if you can't have the money to spend a month, at least go for 2 weeks, and you will really enjoy yourself. Now, while I was over there, I was singing in France. I made television in Rome, Italy, and I went all over Europe. And when that time was up, I got that ship and I came back home. But I had a great time. I can see myself now walking in England and singing in Paris and just having a lot of fun. This is a great experience, one that I'll never forget,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did that open up? How did that affect the way that you saw America or Memphis and stuff when you got back?
Oh, well, there's no comparison. I mean, they're so fun-loving and have a rest period.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody go back to work. They take off and be alone and then go back to work. This quiet life, good life to live. It's slow, but right now it's a lot of trouble over there, but back then it was no problem. We had a good time.
That's awesome. I can imagine how it could open up your mind to show you that there's more to life than you just in the United States of America. There's a whole world basically out there. It all just don't boil around the U.S.
Oh no.
I can't wait to hopefully one day travel, because they say it's freeing. Like it frees your mind to know that you can actually leave the country. And there's this.
Well, have you ever been in the Army?
No.
No. They
wouldn't let me serve because of my eye.
Oh, okay.
I had an eye injury when I was young. The recruiter, it was funny. The recruiter was like, they were trying their best to get me, so they came to the house, and he was asking me a bunch of questions, and then as soon as he asked me, as soon as I told him about my eye, he just started packing up his stuff and left. And I'm just like, no, I want to go. I wanted to come back and come get me. They couldn't do it because I had a eye injury.
Well, that's a fun time. That's
Wow.
one time I'll never forget. The experience I had with the Army.
Would you recommend for like some of the youth now that's coming up for them to join the Army?
But that's if you want to really see the world and you want to find out how other people live. And that's what I was saying, because they taught me a great deal,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. I think a lot of, I'm not saying all of them, if you're not going to go to college, it might not be such a bad idea to join. Get away from here. Don't just be influenced by this what's happening over here.
Well, you see, when I finished high school, I said I was prepared to go to college. I said, well, I'll go to the Army. So I was drafted, though. I was drafted. So I got home. I was living in New York then, and that letter came. Uncle Sam wants you.
Oh.
So I went down and they signed in New York. I had moved to New York from Memphis then, and I went down to New York station and was drafted to the Army. So what happened was, it was something funny. I was with two white boys, and they put all us down as white. So I couldn't get that off my record until I was discharged. What happened? That's it. I went all through the Army.
As a white man.
Yeah.
That's funny.
They couldn't change it. So that was it. All my assignments were white boy assignments. I went into Europe. I got assigned to this 516th Signal Group. That was the headquarters. I went out of there and I got a job in the office for a staff sergeant. I was a private. But the sergeant there was a Hawaiian. And he said, let him take the job. He told me I better learn it, so I did. So I wore Class A uniforms all time I was in the Army.
What a blessing. It went from being a curse of getting that letter. Getting that letter was a curse, but then you got blessed in the process.
Yep.
Chuck D got a song about that, getting that letter from the government. He'd be like, I got a letter from the government the other day. I opened and read it. It said they were suckers. They wanted me for the army or whatever. Picture me giving a damn. I said, never. And on the video, he's in the pen because, since he didn't go, I guess they locked him up. And then all his boys come and try to break him out.
Oh, that'd have been a trip.
Yeah, and he said that the reason he wrote that song was because when he was a kid, his uncle got that letter. And he saw when his uncle had read the letter. He said the uncle balled the letter up and threw it down and went. It was mad, and he was why?
I know. I was in New York when I got the letter, and I opened it. And said, Uncle Sam wants you, and I went down. I was kind of glad I wasn't going to join, so I went down, and there was two other white boys, and I made the third. And all my assignments, all white boy assignments, all my assignments. Yeah.
So what made you want to move to New York? Growing up in Memphis, why New York?
Let me see. I had three other brothers had moved to New York. So I decided to go to New York, and that was it. No reason.
They didn't coax you. They didn't say, Johnny, come up here. Come stay up here with us.
No, I wanted to get away from here, and I got up there and got a one-room shack. No one room, but about as large as this office. And bed, dresser, closet. That was it.
It probably costed more than what it cost to live here.
No, it wasn't. It was cheap. It was about, I think I was paying about $10 a week. Yeah. It was a rooming house. I lived on the third floor. And it was 4 apartments on that third floor. I was in this corner. The landlord's son was in that corner. Then a girl and another girl was across the hall. That was it. So it was fun, but it was New York type of living. So that's what I did.
Was Were you ever shocked in these different cultures that you were putting yourself in, because you went like coming from Memphis and then to move to Europe and then to come back and then move to New York? Like these
No,
are
no. I moved to New York first.
okay.
Then I was drafted from New York into the Army.
Okay, in that order.
Yeah.
Okay, still that's even more of a culture shock, because now you done went from Memphis to New York. That's a culture shock, and then you done went from there all the way overseas
Yep.
to another culture shock.
Yep.
But to me, it sounds like you welcomed it with like open arms.
What else could I do? I had fun. I had a whole lot of fun.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Had you had any kids at that point?
No. No.
Well, that's a good thing.
I was a good guy.
We're gonna give you that. We're gonna give you that one. No, I'm just I'm just playing. You were like a singer in a hot band going from Memphis to New York. Oh man, yeah. I don't know if I would have been able to be that good.
So that was it.
Oh yeah. So, all right. So now we're gonna get into like the Portra Records side of it. So you're back from Europe, and you said you were on the plane back from Europe whenever you saw that.
No, I was on the plane from New York
Okay.
back to Memphis.
Back to Memphis.
And I bought the book, A Portrait of JFK.
Okay.
And they got the portrait from that.
So it said portrait, but when you shorten it to
Portra.
Portra, is it a portrait of JFK? It's a portrait of JFK.
And the name of the record company is Portra.
Mm-hmm. So what made you shorten it? Why did you shorten it to Portra instead of
Because
portrait?
I wanted to use JFK's book. And that was the perfect name.
That's beautiful. The name Portra is beautiful. Is that a real word?
Well,
Or did you made it up based off?
I made it up because of the portrait.
Mm-hmm.
Is for the book. It's from the book. I want that to be the name of my company. So that's where it came about.
It's an awesome name. It's an awesome name. And I never have, this is my first time asking you,
Oh yeah.
why did you name our label this? I should have asked that a long time ago.
Yep, just hadn't thought of it.
I was signed to the label.
Yeah.
And shoot, now I enjoyed every second of it. Shoot, I wish I was still signed to. We had a blast. So you back, you on the plane back from New York, Portra Records, and then you went and got it registered and everything. In your mind, are you going to be the act on there that you're signing, or are you looking for an act to sign to put on Portra Records?
Well, just now, right now, I'm not doing anything else. I'm too old.
No, I mean, like when you first got back from New York, and then you started Portra Records.
Oh yeah.
What was the idea? Were you going to be the artist on there, or were you going to sign? Were you looking to sign an artist?
No, I was the artist at that time, and I recorded myself about 2 or 3 records. Didn't make no hit, but got a few plays. Nat D. Williams played me on DIA, and Muha, Honey Boy. They always play my record. Yep.
Where did you record the album at?
At Sun Studios That was over on Popular. I think it's on Popular.
Yeah, I shot a music video there.
Yeah. So that's but Stan Kessler,
Wow.
and I put out and one my cousin Bobby Jean. And I forgot another two girls who sang background at that time. They recorded with me.
Now this story has always intrigued me. I'm glad that you told me that you recorded at Sun Records, because you always told me a couple of times about the time that you had an opportunity to write songs for Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, it was one of the things where I just happened to go in the studio at the time, and I had written different songs, and he looked at some of them. I don't know what he didn't record them, but that was it with Elvis. Yeah, I met him, but that was it. He recorded the same studio I recorded it, because he was much larger than I was.
Not really. He thought he was, but not really though. And it don't get no larger than Johnny Scott.
Yeah.
Who is Elvis?
Yeah.
How was Elvis when you met him?
Just a plain guy. He was just showing around. He hadn't started out. He wasn't really Elvis Presley then, but he became Elvis Presley before I left there, though. Yep. Tommy Cogwheel, guitarist. I think the other guy's name played with us back then. But yeah, I tried to get him to record one of my songs, but I wasn't successful enough. So, I didn't want you to mess with Elvis.
Was I heard some people on a show today, on a podcast show today. I think it was DJ Paul and Willie D. And DJ Paul, he started the group 3-6 Mafia, from Memphis. And Willie D is from the Ghetto Boys. They're a rap group from out of Texas. Well, Willie D said that he heard that Elvis was racist. And then DJ Paul was like, he done lived in Memphis his whole life. He ain't never heard that. No. So, did Elvis come off as being racist to you?
No. He was just, Elvis Presley was Elvis Presley. And the boys in the studio made him a separate person. In other words, you didn't get around Elvis. You see Elvis go down on Bill, or he may come in the club, and you couldn't get around him. They didn't want you to touch him, so, I didn't care. Elvis was out Elvis. He's making more money than I was. Always have. So, that was life.
That's interesting, because one of them was saying that.
Now, I never experienced anything about him being racist.
Me neither. I've never really heard much about that. Chuck D, he has a song where he kind of states that Elvis was racist in it, but I don't have that other besides that song by Chuck D, and that's about it.
Well, you see, why would he be racist? He had a lot of money. He came from Marx. So, I mean, I never experienced anything like that. No. Tommy Cogwheel was the band leader at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tommy also played for me on Good Night, My Love. Pleasant Dreams and Snow. That's my theme song. Steve John. I can't think of the song I put out with the guitar. Yeah. But Tommy Cogwheel played real nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Now the same guys recorded for me. They recorded for Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing I had. But
so the same guys who played and recorded with you, recorded Elvis too.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, he wasn't that big at this time.
Mm-hmm.
See, Elvis came on after I got out there. And I recorded my first record at Sun Studio.
But that speaks to like the mission that you were on, to just be in that those kind of circles where things like that were happening. That show how ambitious you were.
Oh, yeah, well, just using the Sun Studio, it cost me what it cost me for to use that studio. I think it was about $65 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's how it was. So that was all.
That's a lot of money now. That a lot of money then.
No, that wasn't no money.
That wasn't no money.
No, $65. You talking about lucky. You know, if you about $65.
That's per hour.
Yeah.
That just seemed like a lot, John.
You take it, the average song is only about 2 minutes and 58 seconds or 3 minutes. To that, where you don't get that much money from?
And plus that's paying
That's paying
the
the studio and the musicians.
The musicians. Oh, okay. Now I see where you. Okay, now I see where that wasn't much then.
No,
because you're paying the musicians and the studio.
Yeah. Yep.
So which leads me to you put out the album. Now you said it was on the radio. You got the song on the radio. So you start. What was the next step to like play some shows around
town,
the region and stuff?
Well, you see, I played the Flamingo Room, Club Handy, and I think the little club upstairs, Sunbeam had on Hernando and Bill, the Handy Club. Yeah, I think it's Club Handy.
What was the reaction from the people?
I was just a blues show. I just sang the blues and that's it. You know what I mean? They danced and that was it. Yep. I had a good time.
That's what the music should be about. It should be about having a good time.
Oh yeah.
The politics come in and stuff whenever you start when the money and stuff start getting involved. Oh, that I found that's kind of I've gone a long time being a little bit down about not being a commercial success and all of this stuff, but I feel like I still got really good talent, and when I record records, they still come out really well and all that stuff. But I think at some point, it was a point in my life where I stopped recording for a minute because I was feeling like I'm never going to be a commercial success. Do you think artists should stop recording because the commercial side ain't going so well?
Well, if you don't have the money to record, you can't be relaxed. You can't go and then feel fancy free. I'm here today, I'm going to do this song, I'm going to do that song, and I'm going to see how it come out. And if I like it, I'll put it out. If I don't like it, you got to like the material you're doing yourself. Because if you don't like it, you can't expect for me to like it.
Yeah.
You can't put yourself into it.
See, a lot of people got home studios today.
Oh, yeah.
So they're able to, anytime they feel any kind of inspiration, they can just go into that home studio and just create it.
Oh, yeah.
So should those artists be worried about commercial success, or should they be worried about making good music and having fun?
Making good music and having fun. And if it's good, it'll show. If it's good, it'll show.
You don't have to force it.
Somebody's going to like it. And that one somebody may take off on it.
You used to always tell me a hit song got legs.
Oh yeah,
What does that mean exactly?
it'll go for you. All you got to do is just put the good song out. Somebody gonna like it.
Do you need the clubs? Do you have to get your music played in the clubs?
Well, the best thing to do is start the music in a club. And when you start, if you see the people like it, then you get into the studio.
Okay.
I know that sounds backwards. That's not the way it's done, but that's a good way. See what I mean?
Yeah. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So that album's out. How many albums did you release solo before you signed your first act to Portra Records?
I was signed up. I just about 245s and 7, 8, I think. Yeah. Then I came up with Portra Records and put out the LP. Yeah. Will You Be Home for Christmas? I can't think of the name of the song now, but that was one of them.
Do you still got copies of some of your first recordings?
I got a lot of them.
You do?
Yeah.
You should put them out digitally. You should put them out, or I can help you do it, or they need to have those like on Spotify and stuff so people can stream them all over the world and stuff.
Okay.
I'll help you do it.
Will I make a dime?
We'll have you set up for you to make the dime, but
Okay.
they like I was telling you about earlier about the stream, and it's like they're giving you like 0.003 cent per stream. So, but they say like if you get like a million streams, you get like $4,000. That's really not a lot of money for it. To me, I'm like, if I've reached 1 million people, you mean to tell me I only made $4,000? That don't even sound right. So, but I guess the flip side of that is at least 1 million people have heard my music now, and I've inspired 1 million people. Even though the check ain't gonna be that big, but
Well, I got a lot of that I'm going to give you to spell it out for me.
okay, we can talk about it more on a different day. I'll come over, or I can bring my computer and stuff if you wanted to like start you a Spotify. We can put all that stuff in your name and stuff, and then because one thing it will be good for is people will be able to pull it up forever. It's a legacy.
That'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It'll
be out there forever.
Forever. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It'll be a legacy, and it'll be it'll be in your name and stuff like that. And if if money be made off of it, it'll come to you. But I'm not a big streamer. I don't do a whole lot of like when I put out music, it don't get streamed a whole lot. I'm still more of a hand to hand, like I like to do the shows locally and stuff, and promote my stuff. I put all my stuff up out there in case people want to stream it or whatever, but I've never been a streaming artist because y'all kind of raised us up to go to them record stores, shake hands, meet people, do in stores, sign autographs, be with the people. And now it's more like be in the computer, as long as you in the computer. And it's like, man, that ain't how Johnny and them taught us.
No, back then it wasn't doing that back then.
No, I still think that's the best way, because now that everybody is in the computer, there's nobody left to be out to touch people and to shake those hands and to be in those places. I think they've left that lane wide open. If you were willing to go, back down that route, you wouldn't meet nobody out there. Everybody in the computer.
Yeah.
So it might be a good thing to go back to marketing that way. Go back to shaking hands and kissing babies and having.
Okay. Okay. Oh boy, I had enough babies.
Speaking of having babies, so
Yeah.
at what point do you have your first child on this journey? Because you've been on an awesome journey so far, and you're still childless.
When I still finished high school, my daughter was born in 55. Yeah, she's born on the leap year. She's born that February 29th, but they made it be on February 28th.
Wow, she's a leap year. She's one of those leap year babies.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I work with a guy like that, and we always joke that he's only like 10, 11 years old because he's only because his birthday only comes once every 4 years.
Yeah, but she was they put it on the 28th, but she was really born that March 1st.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was the 29th of February.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you married at the time, or?
No.
Okay. What were your back then? What were your feelings about, or not even just back then? Well, yeah, we'll just go back then. What was your feelings about being an artist and like?
Oh, I wasn't no artist then. I was throwing papers and stuff like that. No, I wasn't no artist back then.
Okay.
No.
When she was born.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just became an artist later on.
Okay.
She's born in 50. No, I finished high school in 55. So she was born in about 53 or 54, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yep.
I met Olivia too. She's super awesome. She helped me a lot too with my music. She was helping me write my bio and stuff like that. Helping me send it to different labels and stuff like that, and different radio stations and stuff like that. She's awesome. So shout out to Olivia if you're watching.
Squad up, haters down, haters down. If you ain't about that life, don't come around, don't come around. Got the crowd, gone wild, gone wild. Tell me what you know about that Mem style, that Mem style.